Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been 2 weeks since I did my last posting. Work has resumed and it's been shitty weather and it's just all becoming a little bit overwhelming. So now we're back into it. Beautiful day outside today. From my last video, South Australia, postcards from South Australia part 2, I mentioned that I'd like to build a little micro teardrop trailer for my motorbike, and I said I'd scratch out some pictures. So this is what I've drawn up, and I've got some notes here and I'll just go through it just so you can hear it. It's kind of based on my existing trailer. My existing trailer is 2100 long. This one I'm looking at now would be 2450, so it's about 30 centimeters more. So it's not huge. My current trailer has 10-inch wheels. I'm thinking of putting either a 12 or 13-inch 4-stud wheel. For those that are old enough, something like a 120Y tyre wheel on it, which is a 12-inch. If I want it a little bit lower, I'll put a drop axle. So the overall length of this trailer would be 2450. It's, as I said, it's about 30 centimeters longer. Overall height would be 1300 mils from the ground to the top. That gives me a cabin height of about 900 mil. What I intend doing is I've drawn it up to scale on the computer, so it's actually accurate in scale, but now I'm going to transfer those measurements onto some large card and draw it up full size, so then I can work out some minor technical issues and physical issues, so that way it's easy to visualize, like, yes, this is good, that's wrong. So I'm going to do that over the next couple of days, so I'll show you that once I've finished. Yeah, cabin height of 900, which won't give me a whole lot of head clearance, but it will give me sufficient. Overall length of the body itself would be 1700 mil. I'm 185 centimeters, or 1850. So it's a little bit short for that. So I've decided to draw have a pull-out section at the front that pulls over the drawbar. This will give me an additional length. That'll only be 650 mil, but that would make the cabin space 2150. So that gives me about a foot extra inside the cabin space. It's not huge, but when you're in a little trailer, it's actually quite a large area. So then I'll be able to have a battery in the back, possibly with solar panels or something on the top, a flexible solar panel. So that would then give me an overall length of 2150 cabin space with a height of 900. This picture here shows sitting up, in a sitting up position, so you have seats that fold up, so you've got somewhere to sit if it's raining. I'm thinking of having an overall, like a little awning put out the side, but we'll see how we go when we get closer to that. And then with this one is in a laying down position. As I said, I've drawn it to scale. That model on the side isn't anatomically correct. I'm a little bit heavier than that, but it is the right height, so that's the main thing. But that gives me a little bit of space. Also gives me a little cooking hatch at the back. I'm sure if you're watching this, you know what a teardrop camper is. So they were originally designed in the late 40s after the war as a cheap way of getting out caravanning for those that didn't have a whole lot of money. A lot of home built ones. This one I'm thinking of building on the main frame would be main drawbar would be a 50 by 50 tube or 50 by 40 tube, made of steel, as I said, possibly with a drop axle, and then the rest of the frame above that might be 40 by 40 for the floor, but I'll have to calculate the weight once I get a measurement of how much steel I need, so I can calculate the weight. at this stage, guessing, I'm thinking it's going to be about 180 to 200 kilo. This one I want to have brakes. I want to have electric brakes put on it, or hydraulic brakes, whichever. I think electric will be better because it won't have enough weight for mechanical brakes, and then they can operate directly from the Harley. As I said, there's nothing wrong with the trailer I've got, and I actually love it very much, and it would be great in summer. But in winter, if I ever have it out, I've got the hassle of drying it before I fold it up if I'm traveling or whatever. And you've got to pick your time. I noticed that when Rod and I went through South Australia, even morning dews, it was quite wet for quite a while. And we were lucky we were only travelling short distances, so I could throw it all down and unpack it and let it dry out at the next stop. But it gave me a little issues in that regards. In this configuration, if you go somewhere set up for a few days, it's great for camping. You know, you set up your little kitchen and your bits and pieces under your awning, and it's fantastic. With this little micro trailer, you are virtually set up. You undo 2 pins, slide out the front section, and you're set up. The kitchen's in the back. I can still use my existing camper kitchen if I want to have an additional kitchen. I can still use the same stove. So things like that don't change. The same gas bottle. I could probably even go bigger on this trailer. And it would be good. At this stage, just toying with the ideas. I need to go down and do some measurements and some weight to work out the weight for it and see how viable it is. But a lot of the design concepts, not that they're from this trailer, but I'm using this as a, shall we say, a template idea. You know, this has got torsion suspension. Once it bedded in, that torsion suspension's great, so I might go with something like that. I like the stabilizer bars on it because they drop down really easy, and you know, as opposed to jockey wheels and things which were just too heavy. I like the 360-degree swivel on this one. It's a 1 7/8 ball, where a normal 50mm ball, if I had a mechanical brake, weighs about 8 kilo. This rotating one weighs 3 kilo. So there's a lot of things. Towing it behind a car, you wouldn't notice it. It wouldn't be any issue whatsoever. 200 kilos, nothing. Behind a motorbike becomes a problem. Where I've got the box at the front on this trailer, I wouldn't have one on this because that's where it would slide out. So everything would be basically had to fit into it. While you're traveling though, you could put stuff inside. You know, any extension cords or, I don't know, an additional gas bottle or, you know, your blankets or whatever you wanted to. Stuff that I would carry in this toolbox or underneath would either be built in or I could easily put it inside it. Like my bedding could just stay in it, wouldn't be an issue. But that's what I'm thinking of doing at the moment. As I said, I can basically weld, so it's not like it's rocket science. I'm working on 2 different sorts of constructions. One is a traditional plywood side. You take out sections of the plywood to insulate it and run all the wiring and with your basic frame. And the other one is where you have your chassis, a modified steel frame, and then you run thin bracing over it, sheet it with an aluminium skin, backfill it, and then you put your inside skin on. Where with the plywood, you have the plywood. You can either treat it so you can have it exposed, or you put an aluminium skin on it. I'd put a stone guard on the front of this slide out section, and the hatch at the back which would flip up, not quite vertically, but give it a fair height so I could stand under it and have my little kitchen in there, which would, you know, as I said, consist of maybe a little sink, my little gas stove that you could slide in or out or lock in so it wouldn't move around and things like that. So that's where I'm playing with at the moment, or that's what I'm playing with at the moment. So if you're interested in this, stay tuned for that. In saying that, if you like this sort of content, give me a thumbs up and a like. Hit the subscribe button, helps the algorithm. I've noticed in my analytics of my site, I'm starting to get traction on the camper site ones. More so when I talk about stuff and do things like that. I've had, you know, 3,000 hits or something like that on my camper trailer one. So it's actually starting to get traction. And whenever I talk and do this sort of instructional stuff is where I tend to get better followings, as opposed to riding, which is understandable because there's only 3 roads in and out of Omeo. And it's limited where you can go on a regular ride that's interesting. You know, same road, same place, sort of destination thing. So again, if you like it, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. A bit of housekeeping. What I experienced while I was traveling on the postcards videos is my phone GPS. I had issues with the charger bouncing around on the roads and stuff. It ended up breaking my cable, and my phone, through an activation that I've done, tells me when it's charging and discharging, and that was going on and off and on and off and on and off. So I use a quad lock system. So what I've done now is I've bought this. This is from my original quad lock system. It now has an anti-vibration device on it and a wireless charger. You still need a charger, but I had a quad lock charging system on it as it was. So this one has a little button on the back that activates it, tells you it's on. And I've found this to be great. And this is as easy as it is to put the phone on and off. Done. Now it's charging.
Charging.
While I was driving along, that was giving me the absolute shits. To take it off, push it down, turn it, take it off.
Disconnected.
And that was what was driving me nuts. Charging, disconnected, charging, disconnected every 2 minutes, and it was absolute crazy. This one here, as I said, you can turn it off so it doesn't discharge from the bike or the battery. That's fantastic. The head charging unit was I think it was $100, and the anti-vibration thing was about $30. iPhone 10s, 11s and 12s have an issue with their camera because they vibrate around and it ruins your camera apparently. So I've purchased that and I've put that on during the week. So that's fantastic. I've the couple of short rides I've done that, it's been good. And it's you think it would move around and vibrate around, but it hasn't distorted the visual contact of it. So as you can tell, I've got the Harley back up on the hoist, not for any particular reason, it's just for a storage reason, because by the time I put the hoist around and whatever, so I'll put the Harley up on that just so I can move some stuff around my shed. Any of you that have had a look in my shed, you know it's messy. I've got stuff everywhere. So I'm trying to think where I can work on my trailer, that's why it's up on the hoist, where I can keep the camper trailer and maybe weld up on the new one. So, if you're new here, I better introduce myself. I'm Michael and I like to do motorcycle related content, be it with my Harley, my camper trailer, or my CBR 1000, which is a long, slow project in the working. But, as I said, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. It is what it is, and stay tuned for this itty bitty camper trailer I'm thinking of building. Until next time, bye for now.